So, what is self-care? Self-care is anything that increases productivity, rejuvenates us, energizes us, and fills our cup. So let's talk about the difference between self-care and what we sometimes confuse self-care with, self-medication. Number one, alcohol. The shark is not practicing self-care right now. He's self-medicating. All right. Nothing against alcohol. If you know Jesse Dale, you know I love bourbon. I love to create bourbon experiences. But alcohol is not self-care. It could be an excuse to meet up with someone. Could be a great experience for you, but it's not self-care. Number two, food or over dieting or over exercising. Okay, that's likely self-indulgence, not self-care. Over exercising, over dieting. When I do this for sport, okay, but it's not under the guise of self-care. It's under the reality and truth of I'm trying to compete and do my best in this sport, okay. But a lot of times people will do that 24/7. That is self-indulgence, and it is an example of something that is called an idolatry, where your self-worth comes from having this amazing body or having these ripped abs, and that's what you do 24/7 is diet, exercise, because that's the source of your self-worth. That's called idolatry, not self-care, okay? Just on the opposite, when you're smashing food or going to buffet, I have to avoid buffets. That's not self-care, that's self-indulgence. So it's not, no, your body doesn't deserve, the 10 trips to the buffet. I've done that, okay? That's just me choosing to self-indulge in that given moment. My body definitely doesn't deserve it when it wakes up the next day feeling like a water buffalo. My body should wake up the next day feeling like a nice lean shark that it is, or that has the potential to be. All right, number three, people pleasing is not self-care. All right. Taking time away from your family to go be a people pleaser is not self-care. Do you want to know what people pleasing is? People pleasing is a way, and I know this because I'm a recovering people pleaser. It's been 122 days since I people pleased. No, it's been like 4 days. I'm working on it. Hey, I'm in the 12-step program, okay? But what people pleasing is it's a form for us to protect our little egos. What does that mean? It means, well, we don't want to hear anything bad about us. Oh my gosh, God forbid someone say something bad about us. So we roll over, we bend over, we do backflips, we do whatever they'll say so that they're happy and just say nice things or don't say anything at all because our little egos just can't bear to hear anything bad. The second form of people pleasing, what it actually is superiority complex. It means that we think we have such control to control another human being that we can actually make them happy. That is called superiority complex. Jesus himself couldn't make everyone happy. There were some people that despite his best efforts, they just were not happy. They chose not to follow him. If Jesus can't make everyone happy, there's no way that Jesse Dale is going to make everyone happy. So people pleasing is not self-care. All right. So let's just revisit. Alcohol is a drug. Binge eating or over dieting and exercising is idolatry, and people pleasing is either an ego protection or a form of us feeling that we are superior or that we are God, because we can actually create happiness for another human being, which we can't. So what is self-care then? Date night. Date night is my self-care. Now my self-care could be different than you. All right, so Saturday and normally Sunday, a certain point at Saturday, we disconnect. No phones, no brain-sucking technology, no servicing clients. We go out, and it's her and I and whoever else we might meet out in the world. And we also like to practice that on Sunday. So date night is a form of self-care. Sometimes there could be bourbon involved with that date night. The bourbon is not the self-care. Okay. Number two, personal development. Okay. Personal development, listening to the right podcasts, getting around the right people, getting in the right networks, people pouring into you, reading books. Personal development is great self-care. It lifts you up, it builds you up, and it energizes you. Giving and contributing to the right areas is a form of self-care. Generally, when we're pouring out of our cup, it's taking energy. However, there's a great book. It's called Give and Take. And the research is showing that when you give to certain areas, it energizes you. And it actually has a way of rejuvenating, filling your cup up. And when you give to the wrong areas, it has the opposite effect. So you want to be the right kind of giver. But giving and contributing can absolutely be a form of self-care. It is for us. And finally, Jesus. Jesus is the ultimate self-care man. He is amazing. So Jesus would definitely be number one for our self-care. So I'd love to hear what you do to practice self-care. And here's the thing, I have misconstrued and used all three of those: the alcohol, the food, or the dieting. I call that my bikinis and Lamborghinis phase of life. And definitely the people pleasing. We're getting out of that forest now. Okay, we're traveling out of that forest now. So I've definitely confused other things with self-care that were actually just forms of self-medication. So I'd love to hear from you what you feel your best self-care is. And if you're a recovering people pleaser as well, I'd love to hear any tips that you have in the comment that got you out of that people pleasing trap. So I'd love to hear that. Awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and hopefully it brought some good perspective. If it did bring some good perspective, I would love for you to share it with someone that it can maybe enrich their lives. That would be fantastic. That would be a form of giving and contributing. That would definitely help fill my cup up, and that would be fantastic. You guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you for tuning in.